Welcome back, everybody, to the daily show where we discuss and do technical analysis for big mega cap stocks. So show your support by hitting that thumbs up button, and that is greatly appreciated. And if you're new here, consider subscribing, and that means a lot to me. And if you want to get my daily trade ideas, my swing trade ideas, and 3 days of live trading in my Discord, check out the Patreon, and that link will be down below in the description. And now let's get right into it, guys. On Apple, stock is down 1.94%, and I said it last night, watch, Apple needs to hold 188. If not, you're going to see a dump off, possibly down to 185, and who knows, maybe even down to this gap. And we got really close to this gap today. 184.35 low for the day, and now trading at 184.40. So Apple here, guys, it's just insane. From 180 went straight up to almost 197, and now back down to 184. And we also have big earnings from Apple tomorrow night and Amazon. So going into tomorrow's session here on Apple, the next support will be down here, this gap right here at 193 and then 180. To the upside, Apple will find resistance now at 185, and above 185 this thing can go all the way up to this gap right here, slightly under 188, and above 188 then we can talk about more upside with some earnings. This thing can go all the way up to 190 plus. So that is going to actually play out tomorrow night. I mean, Apple, it's gonna be make it or break it, and last few earnings from Apple, they were not good. So I'm expecting, at least maybe we get something here on Apple where this thing actually drops and I can really buy it cheap, maybe under 180. That would be great. So I'm not really looking to, have a big beat on earnings on Apple, because whenever you see that, usually you see a massive gap up, and then this thing will just run and run, just like Microsoft. And Microsoft also hitting a fresh new all-time high today. And as a retail trader, investor, I don't want things to go higher because I can't buy it. And a lot of people out there, they try to buy things right here on top, and then what happens, we all know, just holding a bag. You need to buy low and sell high. So maybe tomorrow night we get a nice juicy dip on Apple. If things can open here maybe 180 or below, definitely buying that dip on Apple stock. So watch out, guys. Tomorrow night, there's going to be lots of volatility in the market. What you have seen today, that is just not it. We got more to come tomorrow night. And here's my X account. And if you're on there, definitely give me a follow. And I do post a lot of things right here on X, including some of my plays from this morning. And you can see this one was fantastic right here, Meta. And that is why playing big names always safe and you can make money. This thing came down right at opening. We got calls for $5.80. Look at this, 410. Immediately I sold right here, and then my runner went up to $8.60. That was massive right here on Meta within just a couple minutes, guys. Insane move. And then you got this one, and this was a fantastic play right here. This was a swing trade on triple Q, and you can see it right here. Back in 24th, I got more puts on triple Q, and it was pretty much right at the top. And today, I still got some runners, and those are still running right now. This thing came down all the way down to where? Now trading at 417. So all these trade ideas are available on Patreon, and also tomorrow, guys, first of the month. If you go for that annual membership, you get 10% off, and also you get live trading on Premium Plus tier. So check out that link down below in the description. On Meta, it's down 2.48%, and this was a fantastic play. And you can see this is actually the opening candle right here on Meta. This thing dipped, and look at this huge green candle. Soon as we got those dips right here on Meta, getting those calls, 410, exploded, came up right here, 396, sold for profit, came back down, went right back up, sold the runners right here, and then with Powell, this thing came down all the way down to 390. So tomorrow night, we also have big earnings from Meta. Going into tomorrow's session, 384, I think this thing can retest 384 right here as a support. So watch out for this support to hold right here. If not, Meta could be coming down and filling this gap right here at 376.85. And who knows, with bad earnings, and actually it'll be healthy if this thing actually drops down here at 368 to close some of these gaps to the downside. Now, with earnings, Meta expected move is pretty big, and this thing can pump also. If they beat earnings, watch out for a move easily up to 410 to 420, guys. So to the upside now, this thing will find resistance right here at 396, and above that, this gap slightly under 400. On AMD, it's down 2.54%, so this thing was down 6%, and this would have been a nice play this morning. And you can see why I actually waited and did not get in at 162.56, because it was right there, 20-day moving average. I was waiting for 160 to 159 to get my entry on AMD to get some 170 calls, but immediately, I mean, it was just maybe 5 to 10 seconds, this thing dropped down to 162, and then it was trading at 165 within minutes. And not to mention, getting all the way up to 171.30, closing that entire gap. And then with Powell, this thing came down and now trading at 167.69. So you can see what happened here on AMD. This was previous all-time highs, 164. We got 20-day moving average right here, 159 to 160, and the support was holding. This is actually called look below and failed. So this thing was looking below the support right here, 164, and immediately we saw dip buying. And look at the volume here. Went right back up and now trading above 164 and just slightly under 168.65 13-day moving average. So going into tomorrow's session, 164 will be your line in the sand on AMD, and below that 160, 155, and then this gap 148. If this thing actually moves tomorrow, we could see continuation to the upside. It needs to get above, I would say 169 to 170 13-day moving average, and then a quick trip all the way up to 5-day moving average 175. On Nvidia, stock is down 2%, and a lot of people they were just trying to buy Nvidia right here in between two gaps, and I don't do that, guys. If there is a gap on bottom and one on top, this thing actually gapped down this morning, and it was trading right here in between two gaps. You want to wait for this thing to come down to close this gap, and that would be a better entry. You don't want to get in here. Yes, you got lucky buying right here. This thing went back up, but it was trading really close to this gap, 5 or 6 or 7, and the gap right down here just under 600. So that is why I did not play Nvidia today. But if you actually got it right here, this thing went back up and fully closing this gap here on top, and now trading below 5-day moving average, which is sitting close to 619 and trading at 615.27 into closing. So going into tomorrow's session, big support will be down here, this gap, and 600. To the upside, Nvidia breaks above 619. We could see continuation, possibly up to 626 and then 635. And look at this Bollinger Band expanded up to 663.72. So if this thing somehow breaks above this high, yes, we could see Nvidia going up even more, possibly up to 663.72 at some point, not tomorrow. But also keep that in mind, we got a doji indecision candle yesterday and another one today, so things are not lining up on Nvidia. I would stay away until you see Nvidia actually finding a strong ground, maybe some consolidation, and then you can play the stock. On Amazon, stock is down 2.39%, and Amazon also dropped and holding the support 155, this breakout right here that we had before. So Amazon 155, that's gonna be your line in the sand going into tomorrow's session. And below that, 20-day moving average 153.80. We also have strong support at 150. To the upside, now Amazon needs to break 158.47, 160, and then we could see continuation with earnings coming out tomorrow night. On Google, stock is down 7.35% and almost down to 140, but I think slowly but surely this thing can come down to 140 and possibly even come down to this gap 127.74. So that is what I'm eyeing here on Google. If this sell-off actually continues a little bit more, we could see Google dropping down here to 140, and anything in between, I would say 140 to 127. Do not go and try to buy everything right here just on 1 day dip. That is just 1 day dip. Look at what happened before. This thing dropped down here and then there was more downside. So you want to wait, and then you want to wait for a nice hammer candle like this one. So do not go and just buy Google right now. Wait for a little bit more downside. If there is actually a better entry, I would say anything around 140 or below. That is a better entry down to like 135. And then if you want to go and buy more, this is going to be your zone, this gap right down here, 127.74. So going into tomorrow on Google, watch 140, and to the upside, watch resistance right here at 145. I don't think this thing will move too much tomorrow. We could see a $3 to maybe $4 move, and that would be in between 140 to 145 unless we get a gap down and this thing opens below 140. That would be a nice opportunity to buy that dip on Google. We also got this gap here on top just like last time, and we saw that V shape on Google. So I think this time, yes, that is possible also. But you don't want to go and buy on the first day. You want to wait for maybe another day or two, and then if you want to get in here on Google, definitely, this is not a small tiny company. Definitely there is more growth and upside. Earnings, they go all over the place, but these things are not going anywhere. They'll just come right back up. So Google, definitely I like it, but a little bit more downside would be nice to get in here on Google. On Microsoft, it's down 2.69%, and this thing went up to a fresh new all-time high today, 415.32, and then we saw that drop all the way down to this gap, 400, and going under this gap, and also breaking the support. Not only 400, 13-day moving average right here, 398.72, and now early as tomorrow, Microsoft can come down here to this support, 394, and then this gap, 390. To the upside, now Microsoft needs to break right here, 398.72, 400, and above that, this thing can push up to 405 to this 5-day moving average right here. On Tesla, stock is down 2.24%, so Tesla actually did well today, and it was holding up from 185, ran up to almost 194, and you can see another rejection from this level right here, 194. And with Powell coming out and speaking, this thing getting down to 187.29, and now barely holding 187 5-day moving average as a support into closing. Below 187, this blue line right here, 5-day moving average, this thing can drop down to 180. And above, watch out for a move back up to 194, 200, and then this gap, 206.77. And Tesla, like I said, right now, this dip, nobody wants it. Guess what? There will be a time, and I'm telling you, this thing will be trading right up here at 250s again. And people are going to chase this name and say, hey, do you think Tesla I can buy right up here? You can do that. Right now, Tesla oversold. This thing can go down a little bit more. Yeah, that's possible also. But I think right here, this dip, that is a great opportunity on Tesla to go long at least a couple months out, and this thing will be right up here at 250s again. On Netflix, going absolutely flat on the day, and look at this magnetic support it's holding again today, guys. 564, line in the sand so far for the last 4 days, holding right here, going slightly under 564 down to 562. Huge rally going back up to 572, and then sold off back down to the support. So Netflix just consolidating right here, and you can see strong support 564 holding. And that means one thing, as long as Netflix can stay above 564, we could see continuation all the way up to 588 and then 600. To the downside, below 564, yes, this thing can come down, possibly down to 540s, to even this support down here, 528. And that's all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching.